Do you ever wonder what to do with the paper clutter that builds up in your home or office? If so, this is the video for you because we'll be talking about how to deal with paperwork, how to organize paperwork, and how to get rid of the mess once and for all. So if you have a home or an office that seems to get piles of paperwork scattered throughout, or if you just have some paperwork that you just don't know how to organize it properly, then this is the video for you because that's what we'll be talking about. So, hi, my name is Tiffany Domena. Welcome to the How to Entrepreneur YouTube channel, where we talk about how to start and grow businesses from idea to full-time income and from full-time income to enterprise. If you haven't yet stopped by howtoentrepreneur.com and checked out the resources there, definitely stop by and check those out. And also subscribe to this channel if you're interested in that topic. So today we'll be talking about how to deal with paperwork, because as entrepreneurs, or even if you aren't an entrepreneur, you have paperwork that comes in the mail, you have maybe kids and permission slips, and you have medical paperwork and so many different things, and it can become a mess if you don't have a solution for what to do about it. So I know if you're anything like me, you may have seasons where you're very organized, and you might have seasons where you're not so organized. And so this might be a lesson that you may want to rehash. And if that's the case, definitely save it or pin it somewhere like Pinterest, where you can come back to this lesson and review it later. So we'll be talking about how to organize paperwork, and we'll specifically be using the Konmari method. So if you haven't seen Marie Kondo, and she has a show on Netflix called Tidying Up with Marie Kondo, where she helps with decluttering and tidying different things. And one of the categories that she helps with is organizing paperwork. And we'll be going over the KonMari method for organizing paperwork in this video. So let's jump right in. So a lot of times paperwork becomes a problem because you don't have a plan for how to deal with it. Maybe the paperwork might be a bill that you haven't paid yet, or it might be a field trip permission slip that you want to do more investigation on. And so you may not have a plan for the situation that the paperwork talks about yet. You might have run out of organization ideas, so you just come in the house, you have mail, you don't really have a plan for where to put it, so you just put it in the first place available. Or because you don't have the habit of routinely going through paperwork and sorting through it so that it doesn't just stack and stack or end up being a mess throughout your home or office. And so another reason why paperwork can become a problem is because maybe you are too busy. Maybe you have overbooked yourself. If you're anything like me, you're ambitious and you like to pursue your highest potential, be the best version of yourself, and sometimes you might overbook yourself. You might be having your kids in different activities, and maybe you are in several activities yourself, and you have so many different goals and ambitions. So then you've just completely overbooked yourself, so you don't have time to deal with the paperwork. So these are some things that we'll be talking about in this video, but one thing's for sure is that paperwork is a constant. Even if you decide to go digital, there's still paperwork that's going to come up at some point. So you have to have a habit of being able to deal with the paperwork. So over time, if you don't have a process for dealing with the paperwork and you just let this go out of control, then it starts to turn into all kinds of self-limiting beliefs. And sometimes, even if you're not paying attention to it, you might start to feel a little bit more negatively about yourself and about your environment, just because it's not sparking joy in the same way that it would if it was organized. So this is something that's really important, and paperwork is just one component of decluttering that's important. So now for me, I have to admit that I'm no Marie Kondo, I have times when I'm organized and I have times when I'm completely not. And a lot of times when I'm really focused on my business goals or really focused on my kids, a goal that I might have with them, like getting them into some recreation activity or going to all of their games and things like that, those things can definitely take away from me focusing on routines and habits like this one. But this is very important, and I notice when I've fallen off track over time because, like I mentioned before, you end up with these just disappointment that the house is or the office and the mess is just piling again. So now I want to tell you how the Konmari method works for decluttering paperwork. Basically what she says is to discard everything. That's rule number one, is to discard everything. But there are some exceptions to the rule. So you discard everything except for memorabilia, currently in use, paperwork needed for a limited time, paperwork kept indefinitely. And aside from these four categories, she says to discard everything, but make sure that if it has important information on it, social security numbers, addresses, anything that's personally identifiable, make sure that you shred it. So this is a nice shredder. If you don't have one, you can stop by hotentrepreneur.com and support this business by clicking on the links here. This is an affiliate link, and this shredder is at Amazon. But if you don't have one, definitely get a shredder. So yeah, so memorabilia, birthday cards, pictures, love letters, all of that type of stuff that you don't want to throw away or discard of, that's one category that's exempt from discarding. Currently in use, if there's bills, permission slips, school notices, medical circumstances, court orders, all of those things. Paperwork needed for a limited time, like tax forms or warranties. Paperwork kept indefinitely, like passports or birth certificates, social security cards, court orders. And aside from these categories, you should discard everything. Now, what do you do with the important paperwork that's laying around your home or office? So after you've discarded all those things, then there's a few places that you can put the paperwork that's left. And so let's talk about those places that you can put the paperwork that's left. You want to go digital as much as possible. So if you have banks or bills or various things, and it's easy for you to remember, or it's unnecessary paperwork that's piling, you can go online and change your settings so that the paperwork no longer comes to you in the mail. So that's one way to cut back on a lot of the paperwork that might end up scattered around your home or office. Another way to eliminate clutter is by creating a organization binder and creating a filing system, and also by getting a safe. So let's talk more about these four things. And so we talked about eliminating the paper clutter by going digital. So you can switch your bills to electronic reminder. You can switch your bank statements to electronic reminder, and a lot of other things have the option where you can switch it to an electronic reminder. So this, like I said, will cut back on a lot of things. But then you can also upload paperwork. So if you have paperwork that you just want to keep on, you want to remember, some of it doesn't necessarily have to be the original copy. And if the original copy is not required, then you can upload that paperwork into a cloud drive or onto a hard drive or something like that, that you have that can maintain it in a digital format for you. You can also download an app on your phone, and you can basically take pictures of the image really clearly, similar to a scanner, Or you can use the camera app on your phone and take a picture of some of the paperwork that you have that you won't need the original copy for. So that can help you to get rid of quite a few things. And you can also set a recurring reminder inside of Trello, inside of Google, or inside of your phone so that you remember this habit, so that you can analyze your paperwork every now and then and see if there's something else that maybe you could switch to digital format, or if there's something else that maybe you could upload instead of keeping it on your desk or in physical format. So this is one routine habit that can help you to eliminate paperwork. And the second one is to create organization binders. So there's you can create organization binders for that paperwork that helps you to stay on track. So if you like to track your calories, or you like to write down important contact numbers, or you like to keep an inventory of your family's clothes, or you like to write a grocery list, all of these things are really good habits. But if you have paperwork and the paperwork is just piling up because it's not being organized in a specific way, then it can become it can turn into a pile of clutter, even if it's well-serving paperwork. And so that's why it's good to come up with systems like organization binders. You can have a binder like a home organization binder. Some people keep these type of binders, and you can record your important contacts, your meal plans, your grocery list, your to-do list or reminders. You can keep inventories of your family's clothes. You can have weekly, quarterly, monthly, and annual responsibilities. If you have kids and they have chores, you can track all of those things. So there's a lot of things that you can track inside of something like a home organization binder. And you can also do the same thing if you have a small business that you run and that is causing a pile of paperwork. So as a small business owner, there's lots of things to track. You have your bookkeeping, you have your legal, you have your marketing, you have lots of different things that you need to track, and a small business binder could be a good way of doing that. So you might have potential customers and days that you should follow up with them, and office supply inventory and vendor lists, and your editorial calendar, and lots of other things. And so if you keep all of this in hard copy and you just have it piled up somewhere, it can definitely turn into clutter. But if you maintain a binder, then it can make it neat and organized and tidy, and it can also make sure that the notes that you're keeping for tracking or whatever reason are well kept, and so you can keep them for a longer period of time. So there's binders that you can find on Amazon that are fairly reasonably priced. This is just a pack of binders that I found, and these are similar to the ones that I have here that I use for organization in my home. So you can stop by howtoentrepreneur.com if you want to check out these binders, but like I said, these are on Amazon and there's many others like it. So if you stop by here, these are affiliate links, and so it will be used to support How to Entrepreneur and the mission here. So number 3, create a filing system, both physical and digital. So a lot of times, just because you upload things, if you don't have good folders and a good organization system, even online, it can turn into clutter, and you will have a difficult time finding the paperwork that you need. So you want to have folders that are digital folders where you keep like your business plan, and maybe you have a marketing folder, or maybe you have a legal folder, maybe you have a folder for other important paperwork. So you want to keep a very organized digital folder, a digital filing system, and also a physical filing system. So once you have your binders that are helping you keep track of things, and you have your waste discarded, then you'll still realize that you need you need a place to put your new mail that you've just picked up from the mailbox. You need a place to put your bills that you haven't paid yet. You need a place to put your permission slips from your kids' schools. You need a place to put your business paperwork that you need to fax or sign off or other things like that. And you can store all of that paperwork in a filing system. So there are several different types of filing systems. If you want a traditional looking one, this one is a nice mesh filing system that can sit on a tabletop. But there's also filing systems that can hang on the wall or that can fit discreetly, even in small spaces. So if you like this one, I have the link right here, and I'll leave a link in the description box to this article so you can stop by and check out anything that you might have seen me refer to and that you might be interested in. But they also have these hanging file systems, and some of them hang on doors, or some of them you can actually nail it and it'll hang on the wall. They have filing systems that hang that you can put on a pegboard. There's a variety of different ways that you can hang a file system. So even if you have a small space, then you can organize that paperwork. So for many people, the new mail piles up in different places, and I know even for my family, this is something really common for us. Is we'll go to the mailbox, take the mail out, and then just put it at the first available open countertop. So, but it's important to change the habits and to come up with a different way of doing that so that it doesn't pile up, and so that it becomes more usable. And so you might have to call the sender, you might still have to pay the bill, you might have to sign the form. There's lots of things that you may need to do with the paperwork. So that's why a filing system can serve as a temporary holding place, and then you can routinely go through that paperwork and it won't pile up. So like I said, this is a hanging file that I really like, and so you can find a hanging file or a traditional file system that you can use for that paperwork. Another thing, if you have paperwork that you need to hold on for a longer time, then you may want to put that in your file system as well, or you can upload it into your cloud drive. Some things like warranties or instruction manuals, a lot of times there's a digital copy of that, so you might actually find that you don't have to hold on to it because there's already it's easy to Google the instructions for how to use your refrigerator or something like that. So some of the paperwork that you might be holding on to actually has a digital version, and you can discard of some of those big instruction manuals that you might be holding on to. There's also filing systems that serve as like decor pieces. For example, this filing system, when you close the lid, it can actually fit into normal home decor or office decor, and it can look really nice alongside whatever decor you have in the room. So if you're looking for a more discreet filing system, there are options for that as well. And you don't have to necessarily have the old and clunky file cabinet. You can have something that looks more modern and that looks very nice. So now if you have paperwork that you need to act on fast, then you can have a filing system that is mobile. So you can have something in your car that you can just quickly organize your paperwork in there. Things like receipts that you may need for tax time or for tax write-offs, or maybe you decide to donate some things and they give you a slip to show that you donated. Or there's so many different types of paperwork that you might be holding on to, but some of those things might end up piling up in your car or get lost in your car or in transit to a location where you can act on it. So it's important to have some type of filing system, even in your car, so that way your paperwork can be intact. It won't get folded up and ripped up or spilled on. And you can also have something like this that you can keep and use to organize your paperwork. Now, another thing, I touched on it a little bit already, but receipts. You may have receipts that you need for your business, or you may have receipts that you need for other purposes. As entrepreneurs, it's possible for the IRS to audit us just to make sure that we're accurately reporting things to them. And if we're audited, it's important for us to keep receipts and to keep whether it's in digital version or whether it's hard copy, whichever is easiest for you. So there are lots of ways that you can keep your receipts organized, and this is just a simple idea here. It's actually a recipe box, but it has all the tabs inside, and you can keep your receipts in there. You can actually keep a mobile scanner and quickly upload it into either QuickBooks or FreshBooks, whichever accounting software you use, or put it right onto your cloud drive. So these are some ways that you can do that. They also have mobile scanners that you can take with you if you don't want to use your phone, and you can quickly scan documents in. If you do invoices or if you need signed documents from clients, you can scan all of those things in on the spot while you're on the go. And finally, if you have things that are really important paperwork like social security cards, birth certificates, marriage certificates, your articles of incorporation, your divorce certificates, court orders, powers of attorney, lots of different things like that, then it's important to hold on to original copies of those things. You may also want to use a scrapbook for some things, like we talked about love letters or birthday cards. So you may have trinkets or other things. You may want to keep photo albums. Get another photo album for that memorabilia, and you can keep them in a safe as well. So it's important to that for me, it's important if you have a safe that's fireproof and waterproof, and the reason is because things happen. There's all kinds of weather things that can come up, and there's also fires that can happen. And if a fire happens and all of that paperwork is gone, it takes a long time to get that all replaced. So I suggest you get a safe that is waterproof and that is fireproof to keep that really important paperwork protected. So these are the ways that I recommend you handling paperwork and organizing your paperwork. So to recap, you discard everything except for memorabilia, things that are paperwork that's currently in use, paperwork that's needed for a limited time, and paperwork that needs to be kept indefinitely. You eliminate paperwork by going digital with a lot of it. You create organization binders with some of it, and you create a filing system for some of the paperwork that is temporarily in use, and then you keep it safe for the paperwork that's very important and needs to be kept for long term. So if you followed along and you dealt with the paperwork as we were talking, then kudos to you. I know that that's possible, and I know you probably feel much better with all of that paperwork organized and out of the way. Now, if you were just watching the video for ideas on how to deal with the paperwork, then that's also great, and I hope this video really helped you to organize your paperwork. Overall, managing paper clutter is a series of habits. It's something that we all have to do on a weekly basis, and maybe even more often than that, depending on how much responsibility you have. So definitely make sure that you put reminders in your phone, or put reminders in your Google Calendar or Trello calendar if you have one, And that way you can remember to go through and sort the paperwork and to not let it pile up to where it gets just overwhelming. So that's all I have for this video. I really hope it was helpful for you. If it was, please leave a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see if you'd like to see more videos like this, where I do product and service reviews as well as growth strategies to help you grow a business from idea to full-time income and from full-time income to enterprise, then definitely subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon so you can be notified of upcoming videos. That's all I have for this video, and I really hope to see you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.